What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be diving into another deck here in Arena while I climb up the ladder in the rank ladder, as I'm currently, I believe, still Diamond rank 4 at the moment, but I am halfway through as I did do some playtesting today with this deck before I started, so I'm on the cusp of almost hitting rank 3 in Diamond. But today we're diving into Azorius control, which is definitely a unique take, I would say, overall on a lot of control decks for what we're trying to do here. As I would say, the unique take is there is a lot of stuff to put pressure on our opponent's life totals. It is kind of that mixture of we have counter spells in the deck, as well as we do have some creatures that, typically you wouldn't find a ton of in control decks. We do play a bunch of various things to kind of help us, progress the game, in the sense of we have things like Reckoner Bakebuster help us kind of keep our hand full by tapping 2 mana, removing a charge counter from it, and then getting a card out of it. And then if we get to that third time that we do it, we get a 1/1 creature that can pilot our Reckoner Bankbuster, as well as we get a treasure token, which could be vital depending on if we need that additional mana. We also play things like Spirited Companion as another way to kind of keep that card draw coming. We also have Teferi in here, just a one-off in the deck, as we do play, artifacts, lands, and we could tap down maybe our opponent's things if we really, really need to. The -2 is also not bad, looking at the top 3 cards of our library, maybe possibly finding that answer that we may need against our opponent, which definitely helps. Decklick also makes an appearance in the deck, as he's kind of like a good card to kind of have out on the battlefield, as there are a lot of things that target graveyards, and him being able to prevent your opponent from really targeting things from the graveyard, I think helps in the way the current meta is going, especially with mono black being what it is currently. We play the typical counter spells. We have Make It Disappears. We have Syncopates as our we pay a little bit more mana to kind of exile the thing we're countering with it, as well as it's kind of one of those good removals, as we want to get rid of things like Tenacious Underdog or anything else that can kind of reoccur that we really don't want to see again, have to deal with, which is definitely very good. We have a one-off of a Spell Pierce, just kind of an early spell counter. The one thing I would say with this deck that gets a little clunky at the beginning is, for some strange reason, I always seem to draw the dual lands, and which is not always a bad thing. 8 of our lands are tap lands, so if we get them in the early game, they don't really help us, and having that one of Spell Pierce definitely helps out, especially when we're really pinched on what mana we can do and what we can do with it. I could not play the tap dual lands like the Tranquil Coves, but I just feel like making sure I have the white and the blue mana needed when I need it is definitely a necessity when it comes to this deck. On the top end of the deck, we do have things like Wandering Emperor, just a good way for exiling things, getting counters on the battlefield, putting +1/+1 counters and things we may already have on the battlefield and giving them first strike into end of turn. Definitely a good card there. We have AO, the Dawn of Sky, another great card here in the fact that we can look at the top 7. We get to put any number of non-land permanent cards with total mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of our library in any random order. I think that's a great ability, and it kind of works well with the deck because we have a lot of things I do think we can get a good value out of if we get them out with AO's ability. And then also we can put 2 +1/+1 counters on each permanent we control that's a creature and or a vehicle, so it essentially could pump up a lot of things in our deck that could be out on the battlefield. And we have Farewell here, which is also pretty unique, I think, of a card that is pretty helpful in today's meta, in the sense that it can exile our artifacts in case we're just against a deck that's heavy in artifacts. They exile all creatures. If we have no creatures out, it doesn't really affect us. We exile all enchantments, and with like things like Selesnya enchantments and out on the battlefield, or maybe people having a heavier focus on enchantments, that's really good because we could choose what we want to get rid of. And just getting rid of graveyards is always great. I know we don't really get anything back from our graveyard outside of Decklist, so it's not the biggest deal if we have to, exile our graveyard and Decklist in there. Just having a way to get rid of things in graveyard so our opponent can't reoccur back into their hand is definitely good. So definitely, overall pretty strong deck. Like I said, I kind of imported this list and I made my own tweaks to it. The one thing I also will note that I made a tweak to is the fact that I have 27 lands in the deck. I always like to make sure I have enough lands, and when I imported it and played it with 26, I felt really stuck with my hands. I wasn't drawing the proper amount of lands, so adding that one land has definitely cleaned things up. And as of before I started recording, I was on a 4-0 streak with this deck, which is definitely very good. Before that, I was kind of going 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss. And it was just because the hit lands are too inconsistent. I don't really know if that really fixed the issue, or if, just playing more games, it's more, time of playing the deck. But I still think, nonetheless, this deck list is definitely a good way to approach maybe looking at playing some sort of other control deck with a balance of, various good cards of the format currently. With that being said, let's just dive into some games and kind of see how this deck does. On the play, I think it's keepable as long as we draw that third land. But I think having Spirited Companion helps. Doggo. More land? You can kill the 1/1. I guess it's super scary. Hey, I will take a land. All right, we are Jund. Got it. We are Jund. Well, I'll play another doggo because the first one was super scary, so you may kill this one as well. Sure. I will take 2. I'm at 22 anyway, so I don't mind taking 2 points of my over life total. That's not the card I'm trying to play here. We discarding? No? No discard. Must have a massive hand here. Okay. Tranquil Cove. Into an announcement. No attacks. What do you got for me, Chief? Okay. What are we getting? So you get your own thing, which is weird. Why would you hit my graveyard? Never understand that sometimes. Because I feel like you get a benefit from eating things out of the graveyard I have. Artifacts, creatures, graveyards. Are we cool? All right, so we're gonna put stuff in the graveyard, which are all lands. Nice. I'll get a 1/1. You gain a life. Nothing. I'll attack for 1. Say go. Now I have 2 2s. Okay. I feel like that's the part I'm not concerned about. Yeah, we're good. Discarding up to 2 cards. 2 Lilianas you don't want against me, because I guess I have the card advantage. All right.
We must protect the people. Strike fast and strike hard.
All right, putting good pressure on him. What do we got now? What's the next big play? We're just gonna... Sure. I will let you do that. Okay. Are you gonna make me discard?
Happy to help, but I'm taking the credit when we win. Don't think things.
I have got new moves to teach you.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to block, they can block.
You chose the wrong day to cross me.
And good game. All right. On the play, I'll keep. I will keep this. Mulligan. Are we happy? Are we happy and we know except for hints? Okay, we're good. Orzhov. Fun. We'll companion since we're a turn ahead. We'll draw a card, get that card advantage going. See what they do to put pressure on us. I always find it weird, right? Opponent plays 2/3. Has a kicker ability to get things back, but I guess so they don't take points of damage, they play 2/3. I'm not sure how that works out sometimes. So they're Esper, and they have a 2/3 lifelinker. Okay, so that's the play. So you play a thing like a Ravine, and then your 2/3 grows. I'm assuming. I will take 2. I feel like next turn's a big turn, so I feel like I'm gonna actually skip playing anything, even though I could play like an Adeline, but I feel like I wouldn't have mana open to do anything about it. So I think it's probably better off for me to sit back and wait and see what they do on their turn. Got their duel down, so that means they're not doing anything super crazy here. Yeah, we'll pass again. Our board grows, their board grows. It's just kind of like that deadlock kind of wait and see what each person's doing. I mean, they're also playing white, so they could have like Wander and Emperor, give things first strike, try to catch me off guard. For 3? If they counter this, then, you know, good on them. Okay. So that means that at least they're not playing anything immediately, but we are kind of out of threats here to kind of limit what they could do. So, interesting. Well, okay. I guess we can't triple block. There we go. We'll triple block just in case they have a kill spell. I don't want to throw one thing in and they kill something. And And that's how they get around it. Sure. We could AO, or we could... I think AO's probably the best here. So if they kill it, you know, I get to put +1/+1 counters on things. Though if they exile it, that's the downside to it. The benefit of AO, though, is it has Vigilance, so Wandering Emperor doesn't affect it. They can't Wandering Emperor it. Sure. It's just forced. I have to attack with it. I have no other choice, unfortunately. But they still have no great attacks. And, like, at the same time, too, I have 2 cards in my hand, so it's like, what do I have? We'll get some stuff. I can take Wandering Emperor and just kind of shut things down. Though I think this is the play, because then I can draw and discard, or draw from both. And I drew a Wandering Emperor, so it's like I'm lucky. Like that's definitely definitely good there. Sure. I feel like that's almost like a pressure play.
I am almost sad to see you go.
I don't know. That just seems a little off to just kind of force Wandering Emperor
Show them how we greet our enemies.
at me. I don't know. I mean, it's still just a deadlock game. I mean, there's nothing crazy happening. All right, so you want to attack is what you want to do. We'll pass the blockers. We'll block this. Block, block, block. All right. Are you going to get it back? Is that the play, just to loop them back and over again? Okay. Are you going to play it again? I'll counter that one.
New moves to teach you.
There's no point to attacking. Yeah, I have enough mana. Sure, we're cycling. Gotta find an answer. Three mana open, so no Wandering Emperor in surprise. They really want Wandering Emperor dead. Yeah, you can have this one.
Still have much to learn.
That's not the one. I always for some reason, I like go to the right as my like play. Yeah, there's still no point right now. We'll just pump out a lot of creatures, make a big ol' 7/6. 3 cards in hand. They have no idea. It's cycling. Awesome. Not progressing the battlefield outside the Phyrexians. Sure. All right, we'll draw a card. This is tough, right? Because we drew a farewell, so I guess in case they have an answer for our board, then we're good. All right, what do we get in? I don't know what's in the graveyard. Sure. It's Phyrexian Missionary Gamer. Just a big old board right now. Okay. Are you gonna attack with all of them to then grow like one of them? You are not yet. Yeah, so I think the obvious play here is to exile all creatures and then the graveyards. And then I will just sit back and grow my army. And we'll just restart this all over again. Top deck a Bankbuster. I'll swing it for 3. If you want to... Wow, a lot of land. Are we exiling? Creature? Exiling. Alright. We'll get a creature to replace. Now it's a 4/4. All right. Maybe they have another one. Attack. You already played 2/1 on Emperors. What's the worst they could do? We'll play Doggo. More land. One turn. Nice big old hand here. Well, not crew it. We will crack this for a card. More Bankbuster. Cool. How many cards do I have left? I still have drawn half my deck, but I feel like I've drawn all my land. All right. We'll crew. Crewing it for 5. We have a 7/7 Bankbuster. Full crew. We have a 7/7 Bankbuster. It's a good thing our opponent doesn't know I have 6 lands in my hand. On the play, hand's keepable. He's got things. Mono red player. It's not a bad matchup. We definitely have, if we can just survive long enough, right? Is always the thing with mono red. And ways to gain life through lands is actually not a bad idea. So next turn we have to play Tranquil Cove tapped unless we draw an untap land. I mean, if they want to waste removal on a 1/1, all right, no fear. We're just going face. We're burning down the face. Keeping top. Must be more burn. Gotta love it. No fear doggo is the crazy part. Now the dog was scary, right? Dog was scary that time. We'll gain one of that life back. What do you got for me? What's the etching plus the what is the 2 cards? What's the bang bang here? How about no? Yes, that is a counter spell. Sure. So you want to burn your whole hand out and not have anything left. I like your style. They don't, you know, mess around here. You know? I mean, I'll get beaten down by a 2/2. It's not super scary. Say go. What do you got for me? We're at 12. We're in the danger zone. All right. Not resolving anything. Phoenix check. Sweet. We're going all out. We'll get rid of the etching. Gain 2, take 1.
I am almost sad to see you
Sweet. Put a 1/1 counter on that. We'll play a Bankbuster. We'll say go. What do you got for me? What do you got for me, Goose? All right. Scary card. Makes sense. Don't want me to get creatures. I'll still block here. I mean, that seems like a pretty straightforward block. We'll attack him for 2. Attack him for 3. End turn. Say go. I mean, you can attack me for 1 a turn. I can just start slowly building up an army and attacking you for a very scaling up amount of life over the course of the game. Errata. No? And scoop? No scoop. Still in this. We're still in this. All right, so I think they have something because it's like there's still stick. All right, they really wanted to play with Fire Me and see if they have a good top deck. And it must be a land, which is like the sad thing, right? Like it's like they kind of need a land because I feel like their top end of the deck is, you know, the way to really beat me. It's always one of those things when the game just slowly slips away. Because if I bet you the 10 when they felt like they were going to have it because I was off to a really slow start. Sure. We'll wonder an Emperor again.
I'm not overcome.
Bird's gone. We're up to 9.
Just underwhelmed. This is what you get for hurting my people.
All right. They're a good sport. They stuck with it, which is always a good thing. Not a lot of people typically do that. We're off lethal by 1. On the play, hand's okay, right? It's definitely a tough hand. We need another land or two. I feel like we'll make this hand much better. But I mean, we have 3 drops. The only problem is I want to have like a couple extra lands. So I don't feel like you play 3 drops on 3. We kind of want to sit back and kind of wait and see what our opponent's doing. That is kind of like my takeaway here. Our opponent's in the tank though, so there's that. I think I said we're on the play. I already forgot. We're already this far into the match, barely into the match, and I'm already forgetting if I'm on the play or the draw. Classy. Classy mono black. Yeah, we just kind of sit back, I think. I mean, they're going to come to us, I guess, at the end of the day. Even if we don't draw land... Oh, they're Gruul. They're definitely Gruul. Everyone looks at the deserted beach because they're always unsure of what color that is. I'm going to play this. I'll play a Bankbuster. Yeah, well, I'll play that way. And we'll kind of just wait and see what they do. At least we can keep a counterspell open in case they want to, you know, play something. Worst case scenario, we just get to draw a card, which is definitely pretty sweet. Sure. We'll draw a card. Always good to draw cards. Little stick. Another land is good. I guess I'll wet an announcement. We'll get a 1/1. Just slowly start building that up. Our opponent may want to go for like a Hail Mary play. Like something kind of expensive, maybe 5 mana. Sure. I'll take 3. I'm at 20, and this is on turn 5, so I'm not in a rush to, you know, deal with the tenacious underdog. Draw land, always good. We'll play another wedding announcement. Just slowly, you know, waiting patiently. No rush. I don't know if they're playing a 3rd color. They're very interested on, like, their mana base. All right, getting rid of legendary lands. I guess getting rid of the Takenuma is not bad. I guess they don't see a point of keeping on to that one if they don't have much in the graveyard. The red one's interesting, right, if they want to get wide. All right, going for a Shieldred. It's cool. Shieldred's cool. Should have attacked first. Maybe you could have resolved it. All right, so question here for us. Do they have removal? Do they have removal? I'll take it. Because I think this turn we set ourselves up for a pretty good counterattack. I mean, it's not like a massive one, but, you know, it's still not a bad one. We'll get another 1/1. We're looking at our treasure. And we'll grow the team. Are we going to play removal? We're going to try to play removal. Sure. Sure. I mean, they may just go for a desperate... Well, they're actually 1 mana short for an invoke, I just realized. I was going to say they could go for a desperate invoke. Yeah, I didn't draw anything to get rid of it. But that's fine. We'll draw our last card. That's fine. I'll lose 2 life. I'll go to 10. I'm not really worried. We'll play Tranquil Cove, gain a life. We'll play AO in the air. We'll attack here. I know I get the 2/2 as well, but we'll put pressure on them if they want to put a couple things in front of that and block. Or if they want to take 9. Sure. Okay. You know what? I will spell pierce that. How about that? All right, gain some life. That makes sense. What's the big play? Invoke Despair. Interesting. Was it worth it? All right, has another removal spell. Maybe. Oh, they never learn. Never underestimate the control player with open mana. Sure. We're down to 5. We'll crew with one of the 4/4s. And we'll probably swing out for game, if I'm not mistaken. I think our opponent knew. We have 6 of these. We have a 6/6 with this. He blocks this and this. We still get 5. Yeah, that's 20 right there, without even counting the pilot. On the play, hand is kind of slow. We need land, but I think I keep because we don't have the draw for our benefit, so we go down a card. And depending on what the matchup is, that could be very key. We'll say go. We'll kind of wait and see what our opponent does in this position. All right. We'll still wait and see. Sure. I mean, if you want to play around counter spells, I mean, go for it, opponent. I mean, as long as I'm delaying you from hitting me with points of damage, I am more than happy. At the end of the day, that is all that matters to a control player. If I have more life, at the end of the game, I'm the winner. Spell Pierce. Sure. 16. Could play into a counter. Could not play into the counter. I don't know. Maybe I just want to draw a card and just build mana. All right, we'll draw a card. They must have a spell that they think I'm going to counter for its full cost. Not drawing a land there is not great. I don't want to crack it. I'll kind of sit back. They're down a land. Sure. You got me. You're going to attack me for 5. Going to put a major pressure on me. $11. All right. We'll draw a card. Doggo. Emperor. Doggo first with the hopes of drawing something. Land? Hey, not the land I need though. Gain a life though. That's a plus. They don't know if I want to gain the life though. It's gone back to my opponent. I mean, they can play removal to get rid of a dog and put more pressure on me. All right. We'll pass. I know the dog's scary. Dog's scary bad. Okay. Playing Flame Bespel, I guess maybe for a mirror? No fear. Land. We're gonna kill the 1/1. Or are we gonna kill the 1/1 opponent? We'll block 3. If that's cool. That's cool. Alright, what are you gonna do to put more pressure on me? I'm kind of sitting here hanging around at 10. Creatures and graveyards? Is that fine? It is fine. Okay. You can have your own Bank Buster. I'm cool with it. I'll allow it. Still shorter on land though, opponent. That's a little bad. Ayo. No. Okay, we're good. We got our attack in. No. End turn. All right. Looking at a pretty good turn here. Depends on what our opponent does. All right, we'll splash a Wanderer Emperor in, get some Wanderer Emperor and jazz. Okay.
I hope you're ready to lose.
I'll make a 2/2. Okay.
I'm never done for good.
We'll draw.
Protect the people.
All right. Feeling pretty good. Opponent goes first. It's been a while since we've seen Dennick in the opening hand, but I don't think this is a pretty good hand. You know, we got stuff to do. We just need land. On the draw, always, you know, it could be good, it could be bad. We'll get the tap land out of the way. May take a little bit of a beating, but if we can stabilize the battlefield pretty early, I think we're in a good spot. Okay. All right, looking good there. I think it is we play... I think we play Dennick because that kind of slows them down, because then they can't really attack in with their 2-1. I could also prevent them from casting whatever they're going to cast this turn. That's fine. I'll take 3. No box. We'll pass. We'll say go. We definitely have a good turn this turn, just because we have counter magic up. We got a Ganjo. We'll counter. We'll counter the spell. The triggers still happen. You get your triggers, my guy. You only have 1 mana open. No matter what you do in this position, you can only create 1 mana. Are we okay, opponent? I guess that's like a frustration. Okay, maybe they're just thinking hard about it. Sure. Are we attacking? That's a frustration attack all, isn't it? All right. We'll block. We'll gain some life. I feel like that's a miss. I feel like you just attack with the 3/3 because I can't kill it. I don't know, though. That's just me. I mean, we still have to kind of slow them down. We're not technically out of this. Okay. We got some big creatures now, some big boys. So we do definitely need to draw something. We'll exile. Gain some life.
My judgment is final.
So what can we do to damage control is the real question. I think we created 2/2.
Until next time, then. Guards, to me.
Like, that does something, but is it going to be enough for what we need to do? Because those 4/5s are going to come on us pretty quick. Oh, let's Bank Buster. Sure. Really just need to draw something. All right, we're just throwing the pressure on. Don't have 2 mana. Or you can tap your land down. Sure. All right, I need like a farewell. Okay. We still got a chance, guys. Still got a chance. All creatures and graveyards, just to be on the safe side. Probably didn't need the graveyards. Sure. We'll play an AO. Green mana. It's good for us. Can't really do anything with it, can ya? Mana, mana, mana. We'll attack. We'll wet an announcement. And we're good to go. Slowly building up that board state. Just had to take a couple licks beforehand. Card advantage, card advantage. Even though it's land advantage. Attack? I could attack with 2, but there's no point. I'd rather have the creature. And I guess our opponent's not looking to play a top deck war at this point. And we are back. So overall, the games went fairly well. In the games I played here on the video, I ended up going 11-5, which is great. The downside to the deck is I feel when you're on the draw, you're at that slight disadvantage because a lot of the decks of the meta, if they can get their stuff out early and we're not able to react to it in quickly enough, is kind of like the one side back of playing like a kind of control deck in this manner. There's also that finding that balance of how to be where to cast your spells. Do you cast it on curve? Do you kind of wait it out, depending on how you go about it? It's something I also think I picked up as I played more and more of the deck. It's kind of one of those things when you don't play control and then dive into control, it takes you a minute to really get yourself adjusted to control. But still, like I said, it's a great deck in the format. It is a little bit on the expensive side, right? A lot of times with most control decks, because a lot of the big removal spells and things like that are expensive. When it comes to rarity, it kind of limits on, how available it is to play a controlled deck. But I do think this is definitely, if you're not looking to play like the Mirror, you're not looking to play mono black, you're not looking to play the various other control decks of the format, Azorius definitely has a place. It does very well. If you can stabilize yourself against more of the aggressive decks, you could definitely, curve out very well. It got me to rank 3 in Platinum, which is definitely sweet, with the 11-7 record. So, that's definitely a benefit. When you win more than you lose is always a net gain. Just overall, this deck is fun. If you are someone who likes to play control and wants to play maybe like traditional blue-white control, this is definitely a good list to maybe take a look at, maybe make your own tweaks on what counter spells you want in it. Sometimes, the Make Disappears kind of feel bad. Same thing with the Syncopates, and the Spell Pierce kind of feel bad in the late game. You can add in just straight up counter spells, like the Urtai counter spell, and or just some of the. So I guess that's the only true counter spell if I'm not thinking about it. No, never mind. And we are back with our Azorius control deck, and we did get ourselves to rank 3 in Diamond, which is definitely awesome as we make our way closer and closer to Mythic for the season. We are getting kind of towards the tail end of the season, so I do only have a couple days left after, I probably have less than a week about to get myself to Mythic rank, but I do think I could do it if I do put enough effort into it. We did go 11-7 overall with the deck, which is definitely a great win record. I know that's not a ton of games. 18 total games is not a ton to really base off of whether or not a deck is good. But I do think it's a general start, as you see that we are kind of like further away from the losses, which means it's not a 500 deck. It's roughly about a 61% win rate at its current win rate, but I probably would say if I probably played it more and more, I probably set around somewhere around like 55 to like 57% just based off of, statistics and how that works. But, it definitely has some good matchups. It definitely has some weaknesses. Its being on the draw than being on the play is kind of the weakness in this meta. especially when you get against good decks of the format, especially like the mono blacks. I did go like 2-2 against them. I did have some struggle matches. I lost my mirror just because they had the answers towards the late game. There's a couple decks where I maybe made a couple misplays in. At the end of the day, I don't really know what games are in this video, but there are some games I did get some clutch pulls off the top of my deck and kind of turn the game around into my favor. I'm a big fan of Farewell. Sometimes maybe I click way too many of the things to exile, maybe more than I need to. But still, it's a great card because exiling is better than removing because those things don't come back when you exile it, which is always a plus. Bankbuster is a great card of the format. If you play any control deck, I do think Bankbuster is like a must in your decks just because it helps you grind out games, especially when you're looking for an answer maybe to what your opponent's doing. Teferi wasn't much of a factor in any of the games just because it's a one-of. We didn't really draw him too often. Wandering Emperor is another great card of this deck just because, exile and things is always good with its minus ability. And then kind of turn on the pressure with the minus ability, making a samurai token is always good too. The counter spells, they feel very iffy. Make Disappear is good, especially if we can get our tokens out on the battlefield. If we can, get our Spirited Companion and get a one announcement out, we are able to casualty it. Makes it more effective because they have to pay 4 mana. Syncopate's always good too. I even think Syncopate in the late game make your opponent have to pay a ton of mana, even if you want them to kind of play the spell, but taxing them to play that spell is always good. If you are able to make them not want to pay that mana, the card gets exiled as well, which is definitely good in this style of format. The one of Spell Pierce is good in the early game, though it's kind of one of those awkward things you draw in the late game that you just want to get rid of. So it's definitely not good. It's definitely good fodder if like they play like a Liliana and you've already, you're already in like turn 5 or 6 and they have open mana. It definitely is a good card to discard. Denek is actually pretty surprising in this meta as well. I did come across a couple decks where people are trying to get things in graveyards and return them. It's great against Trespasser if you don't want your opponent to kind of dig into your deck, or if you don't want to get Windseared as well. It prevents your opponent from, I believe, getting the lands back from their graveyard. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I did play it and they either didn't have lands or they didn't get lands back. I don't really know what the gist is there. Adeline feels, odd in a control deck, but it definitely has its place, especially when you're trying to push that final damage through against your opponent. You play like a late game Adeline, even if you don't attack with it, but you have a decently wide board. Adeline just makes that attack much better because you get an additional 1/1, and then if it sticks on the battlefield, you just got this giant creature. Your opponent's like, crap, I have to deal with it. AO is great because it's always that thing of with the dragons that I think a lot of people underestimate is like, do I get rid of it? Do I destroy it? Do I, they have to like exile it really to not get the effect of AO. I think the first ability is great. Looking at the top, 7 cards of your library, picking cards with mana value 4 or less combined together and put them on the battlefield. Also, if you have a decently wide battlefield, put in +1/+1 counters on each creature you control plus each vehicle you control on the battlefield. Also comes in very clutch because if your opponent's like, oh, I'll kill it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a bunch of 2/2s with the one announcement flipped over. They're just going to maybe kill it, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, those 2/2s are now 4/4s with the additional +1/+1 counters, which definitely catches them off guard. But still, nonetheless, this deck performed good. I was very happy with it. It definitely, just like anything when you're grinding up a meta or a ladder, you'd go through ruts of losing a few in a row, but then you also win a few in a row. And us getting to rank 3, I think at the end of the day, from the 18 games I played with the deck is definitely pretty good. Because I did have to streak a little bit. I did have a couple where I was going 1-1 and 1-1, so it definitely doesn't make a ton of progress. I did have a couple where I was losing a couple in a row. But like I said, every step counts when it comes to going up the ranked ladder. But if you like the video, I'll have a link down in the description below if you want to check it out and import it into Arena, maybe with your own tweaks based on what you feel like you could play with a control deck like this. If you like the video, hit that like button. Definitely helps me out. Lets me know you kind of like these style of videos. If you're new here, you want to know I post new videos like this one here on the channel, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Just want to give a special shout out to the channel members here on my YouTube channel. You can also become a channel member yourself down below the video, hitting that join button. It definitely helps out a lot, and I just appreciate you guys for your support.